Today's paint is forbidden for use in the US. What's up friends, Liron here, welcome to episode number 2 of The Paint Show. In this episode we're gonna look at a color so interesting, so fascinating, Sepia. Now, this is a very basic color, but I had to research a bit and I found some creepy stuff. So let's get to it. Sepia is a beautiful, rich, brown black. Now there's a good reason why it's brown black and we'll look into it in the nerd stats in a few moments. But just so you know, the name Sepia came from actually Sepia with double P, which actually means a type of squid, cuttlefish. And so originally they would make this, I think, from squid's ink. And they actually say that it's the meaning of the word to sepia is to make something rot. That's weird. Aside from that little interesting fact, Sepia is actually a very popular filter. If any of you are using Instagram and stuff like that, you probably know, or even just basic editing softwares, there's always that filter, Sepia, and it's just a very popular paint to use in photography as well. The brand we're looking today is Daniel Smith, just like the previous episode, and if we look at the tube, we can see, here, have a closer look. You can see that it's composed of mainly two pigments. So what we have here, and I wrote it down because there's no chance I'm... two pigments, burnt umber, which is PBR7, BR is brown, and we have PBK, black, ivory black, PBK 9, okay? And so this is what gives this paint the very rich texture that it has, and also what allows it to actually give you a wide variety of values. It goes from really, really light to really, really dark. And so it's really useful. If you're gonna work monochromatically, this is the one. Now, without noticing, we're deep in the nerd stats, so let's look at the next stuff we have here. So I had to do some research about the color codes of these PBR7 and PBK9, and I found some creepy stuff. So if the squid thing wasn't bad enough, it turns out that the burnt umber is actually made of Cl77492, which is iron oxide. I don't know, yeah. And ivory black is actually made of Cl77267, which is bone charcoal and is forbidden to use in the US. According to what I found, I think in cosmetics only, so for paint it's okay, but I don't know if I'm okay with that. Anyway, that's for nerds, who cares? About the series and the light fastness, as we always will look at them. So here, have a closer look. The series is 1, the light fastness is 1. Series 1, this is a cheap color to produce, and it's very common, and I think it's very common on beginners' palettes, and so you would expect it won't be too... my hair is terrible. So you can expect it won't be too expensive. Now, as for light fastness, it's really good, because you can just... You know, it's very resistant, okay? Just that. Now, it does granulate, and it's a semi-transparent paint because its ability to achieve such dark values, okay? So, I think this is it for the nerd stats. Let's see what I have here. Yeah, so let's talk a bit about what I use it for. First, I like to use it with blues just to darken things up, and the reason is that it's very dark and it almost neutralizes them, but it doesn't. So you can still achieve a very dark brown or a very dark blue without having it gray out on you too much, as opposed to using, let's say, the blues with burnt sienna, which is a little more red. This one's a little more brown, so you won't get this much of a strong neutralizing effect, but you will get a really good darkening effect. So if you want to achieve dark browns, dark blues, I love to use it with French ultramarine or ultramarine blue, any of the ultramarines. Also sometimes with phthalo blue, which is like an explosion because both of them are pretty strong. So if you want to achieve really dark values and you want to use a relatively cool blue, that's a good one to use. The next use that I like for this one is actually to mix it with my greens, and it just helps to darken foliage and stuff like that. If I want to create the shadows for the trees, I kind of mix it with the sap green. It's a part of my favorite palette. If you remember episode 1, I talked about it, that I like the sepia, burnt umber, sap green, blue, all sorts of like the reddish blues, okay, these ones. And this is it. I hope you enjoyed this one. I think it should be a shorter episode than episode 1 because we now have become more familiar with some of the stuff. And yeah, I actually really had to research this one, and it was quite fun. I have to say, I like that research stage. So what I want to do now for the next episode is I want to hear your thoughts, and is there a pigment, a paint that you want me to cover? Let me know if you do, and I may get to it. I'll add it to my to-do list. We can just continue with these episodes. You tell me what pigments you want me to talk about. We'll find some cool trivia, cool information about them. It's gonna be fun. Anyway, this is it. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to follow me on Snapchat and Instagram, and I'll see you soon in another video.